Remember these? These, we used to use them for solar panels, for our radars. Some features of the HUD even use them for custom turrets. This has been obsoleted, or being made obsolete by the new and improved this custom turret controller, which I will be using this time to show you how to use the custom turret controller, some tips and tricks, and how to build 4 designs using the new tools that are available to us and some new knowledge that I have learned. This one will make a dual rotor turret. So all you need is an advanced rotor, a conveyor, preferably a junction, and some form of weapon, and a camera. Now these are going to be piped up, so somewhere to get your cargo from as well. I have this for all of these, and I'm also in creative mode. Also, the camera is not required. It is only required for AI shooting. So, have 0 facing towards where you want your front to be, and place it. Now this is where you can either have this as a small or keep this large, and place. And you can, and then place your elevation rotor. It is that simple. Now you can make some weird thing, or make this also small. I am going to create just simple missile. And I will also put a camera. Now, to set up what we have just built, we are going to go in to our custom turret controller. If we're going to make multiple, I recommend naming everything in each individual turret. Now, you go to azimuth. This is your left and right, and rotor is the one we're using. Then elevation rotor is how it's going to go up and down. And camera, as I said, this is only needed if you want it to shoot on its own. And the weapon, select it and do add pool weapon. Lights will also be put into here. I am not sure about welders and drills and grinders. And then you can, down here, adjust the range, tell AI to on or off, target meteors, target missiles, small ships, and just targeting options down here. And we can control. As you may notice, well, I notice, you may not, but I have accidentally put our elevation rotor upside down. So I'm currently moving my mouse up. Now I'm moving it down. way we can fix this issue is we go down here and do elevation velocity multiplier, and we'll control left click this and just chuck a negative in front of the number. You can do the same if you messed up your azimuth. Now we can go and I've lost it. Control up, down, left, right. Another thing is, with this setup, the azimuth rotor is also pulling us around, so the actual thing is moving. Means this will make it harder to actually aim at something. And just left click to fire. For this one, you'll make something similar, but yet different. So, same stuff again, except we're going to also need a hinge. I recommend using a hinge for your elevation. It makes it so much easier, in my opinion. And some form of weapon. You shouldn't need a junction or some form of conveying unless you are going to do some sort of or bigger gun. So once again, place the advanced rotor, 0 facing the front. With your hinge, I think the tick goes to the back. If I get this wrong, I will tell you during the technicality phase. And one thing I have discovered, if you put your guns like this on a rotor, a hinge, and wonder why it's so springy, like it bounces like this, that will not happen to smaller caliber weapons unless you use large amounts. But what is happening is you're firing a weapon and it's pushing the rotor back, and it's the hinge is trying to compensate. It overcompensates and gives you the jittering effect. So what I recommend is you have it like this. So if you fire, the cannon will push into the hinge, causing no jittering. Now I have forgotten. And we'll do a camera. Make sure, I forgot to mention this before, but make sure the light is at the bottom and the bar is at the top. Now, I recommend naming for multiple guns, as I said before. Now, go down azimuth rotor, advanced rotor 7, elevation rotor. We're doing the hinge, design camera, oops, well, I recommend, I forgot to rename my camera, but you should And that camera should be camera 2, if I am not mistaken. Yes. So name everything on your turrets if you're doing multiple. Or just do it anyway. Okay. And then for AI, and then down here. It is jittery, not that much, just because we have a little bit of weight, but it fixes itself. You may need to up the torque, and I have forgotten to add the gun. But you will not really experience a jitter when I fire. If I did some other form, this wouldn't be anywhere near as jittery. I mean, it would be way more jittery. This is probably the one a lot of you have been waiting for, the compact turret. Make sure 0 is facing the front. But another thing going to need to add. You're going to need the small conveyor. Now, again, hinge, make sure that tick is towards the back. What you're gonna do is want to remove this. And if you're in space, I do recommend doing this in space. You're gonna want this little guy. So if you're in survival, get a ship to do this or some sort of subgrid thing. I'm gonna use my fighter, or strike fighter. Probably get a camera when you're doing this. I'm going to try and get it as close as I can to one of the edges. Now, we need to find this hinge and this one. Alright. and you're going to do attach. Now, clearly, this hasn't worked. And we could have moved. It's trial and error, pretty much. Could do if you're playing on multiplayer. If you get one of your buddies spamming that attach button while you try to find a sweet spot. And there you are. We have it. It is attached. Don't mind me as I remove the weather, so it is easy to see. Now, get your small conveyor and just add a little thing around. Like this. And you're going to want to place there it is, a weapon. Any weapon will do. My favorite is using these, but I have tested every weapon works as long as you place it right. There's a word camera at the top. It's not always appearing there, but if it does for you, make sure it's just it's in the right spot and it says camera. Now you can build this in Spectator, and the hinge doesn't have to be large, so you can do this on small grid. But the most important part, I'm not going to go build all of this. Most important part you take heed to is the back must be half blocks, or at least these. You must have the back at a small profile, otherwise it will not go up and down. From what I have tested. I could be wrong, but I'll do it and show you. And we'll go set it up. Apparently forgot to do a clip to this. Advanced rotor 8. Hinge compact. Camera. And you can use this as in this. It's the same system as File Explorer. So control to select multiple, or if you hold shift and hold at the end of the list, it will select all. Alright, control. See how it's a little janky? That's because it is scraping. It will make it difficult, so I recommend you try to use half blocks around where you can. See how it's clipping through here? This could cause clang. So I recommend using half blocks on the sides and the back. You can use in the middle of the back full blocks, because I don't think that affects it. Just be wary of where you do it, and try not to take too many risks. And last but not least, the newest of the bunch, the small. This wasn't possible before to pipe it up due to, well, it was possible, it was just a pain, because you'd have to make some weird contraption. But now with the 1x1 x1 small grid rotor, advanced rotor, this I do not necessarily like. I do like it, but I don't like it of that they added it, but I do like that they added it. Due to, I liked the fact that we had a challenge before. We were challenging, and we had to engineer a solution around it. And, well, the one that I've been making recently is just a simple, like, we can now make it much smaller than this. This used to be the smallest you could get, and now it's possible just to have like a gun on the back of your fighter. Like, you could just simple as this. These are really long Gatling gun. And boom, you've got your gun. And considering using a large grid, lower the floor a little, and that's your gun. Now, something I really want to say before I finish this up, well, before I set this turret up, if you see here this setup actions, this is something that you can do, for example, when it's like, well, this setup actions is the same as like a sensor, but when it lines up on its target, it will trigger whatever you put in the setup actions. So you could do like a little two-rotor sensor thing with a camera on the end that looks at some sort of fighter, and it will launch a rocket or something. This is a feature I learned not too recently, but fairly, like a month or two ago. I was going to make a video about it after I made my previous tutorial. So, and these you can use, like the light, to do you can enable it to target friendlies, but the targeting options will only show up after you set it up. This is different. I have forgotten to name the thing, so if you do this and can't find it, just get rid of the camera, do it again. The grid technically has, well, there's a second camera on the grid, so this will be camera 2. You probably saw me use this trick earlier. It is handy if you forget. And you can tell it target friends, on, off. So you can prank your friends and have a gun shoot you, or if you attach a light to it, it can look at your friends. So I hope you found this guide helpful, and I will see you all in the next one.